Alright, hold on to your hats, because the saga is about to reach a crescendo of quantum chaos. Saga, the Quantum Ascent. Chapter 8, The Nexus Point. The quantum realm, once a sea of infinite possibilities, is now a battleground. Quinn's iron grip tightens as she reshapes reality to her will, her perfect order a stark contrast to the beautiful anarchy championed by Wildcard, the terrifying illusions woven by Echo, and the all-consuming entropy unleashed by Flux. The tension reaches a breaking point, a nexus where all their powers converge. Quinn, the architect of possibilities, stands at the center of it all, her form shimmering with the power she wields. She is no longer just a manipulator of the quantum realm. She is its would-be god, her will bending the very laws of physics. Her followers, beings promised order and purpose, are her devout zealots, ready to sacrifice everything for her vision. Against her stands Wildcard, the rule breaker, a whirlwind of chaotic energy and defiant beauty. Her crew of reality-bending artists and code-breaking hackers fight with the freedom of creation, their powers a kaleidoscope of rebellion against Quinn's rigid control. They see the multiverse as a canvas, not a cage, and they'll tear down every wall Quinn builds. Echo, the distorted mirror, lurks in the shadows, her army of the insane a terrifying reflection of broken minds. She has become the master of perception, her illusions so potent they threaten to unravel the sanity of reality itself. Her motives remain shrouded in mystery, but one thing is clear. She will reshape the minds of all beings, whether they want it or not. And then there's Flux, the engine of entropy, a force of destruction unlike any the quantum realm has ever seen. His followers, the Nihilists and Destroyers, crave the oblivion he promises, their power growing with each act of annihilation. He is a black hole of existence, threatening to consume everything in his path, leaving behind only the cold void of nothingness. These four forces collide, their powers warping and twisting the fabric of reality. The quantum realm becomes a nexus point, a place where all timelines converge, where creation and destruction dance a chaotic ballet. The battle is not just for control of the realm, but for the very soul of existence itself. Will order prevail, or will chaos reign supreme? The answer lies in the hands of these four powerful beings, their destinies intertwined in the ultimate quantum showdown. Alright, here's the next chapter, heavy on the action, light on the chatter. Saga, the Quantum Ascent. Chapter 9, The War of Realities. The quantum realm erupts. Quinn's forces, clad in shimmering, reality-warping armor, advance with ruthless efficiency. Energy blasts tear through the fabric of existence, each impact threatening to unravel the very threads of space and time. Cite, 173-174. Wildcard's rebels meet them head-on, a chaotic storm of defiance. Cite, 162, 163, 164, 165. They twist and bend reality with artistic abandon, turning Quinn's ordered attacks into unpredictable explosions of color and form. Cite, 166, 167. One moment, they're dodging energy blasts by phasing through walls. The next, they're turning those blasts into living sculptures that fight back. Echo's army, a terrifying tide of fractured minds, surges forward, their mere presence warping perception. Cite, 47, 48, 49. Quinn's soldiers find themselves battling their deepest fears, their allies turning into monsters, the battlefield shifting into impossible landscapes. Sanity becomes a casualty of war. Flux, a one-being cataclysm, carves a path of destruction through everything. Cite, 40, 41, 42. His manic bursts of energy obliterate entire formations, while his depressive waves suck the light and life from the battlefield, leaving behind voids of nothingness. Reality itself seems to recoil from his touch. The battle rages across multiple fronts, a war fought not just in space but in time and possibility. Timelines collapse, realities merge, and the very laws of physics become fluid. Quinn and Wildcard clash in a dazzling display of power. Quinn seeks to control the flow of existence, her attacks precise and calculated. Cite 173, 174. Wild card fights with unpredictable ferocity, her chaotic energy disrupting Quinn's carefully laid plans. Cite 40, 41, 42. Echo weaves her illusions, her power growing with each shattered mind. She targets the leaders on both sides, her goal to unravel their sanity and plunge the war into utter madness. Cite 47, 48, 49. Flux becomes the wild card, his destructive power threatening to consume everything. Both Quinn and the others recognize him as the greatest threat, a force that could erase them all from existence. Cite 40, 41, 42. The chapter ends on a cliffhanger, the war reaching its peak, the fate of the quantum realm hanging in the balance. Alright, let's delve into the dark heart of Flux's forces. Saga, the Quantum Ascent. Chapter 10. The Children of the Void. Flux, the engine of entropy, doesn't command an army in the traditional sense. He leads a collective of beings drawn to the allure of oblivion, united by a shared desire to tear down the structures of reality. They are the children of the void, and their diversity is as terrifying as their purpose. The Nihilists. These are the core of Flux's followers, beings who have seen the cold indifference of the universe and embraced the beauty of nothingness. They wield powers of decay and disintegration, their touch capable of turning matter into dust and energy into silence. Some are former scientists who peered too deeply into the void, others are artists driven mad by the meaningless of existence, and some are simply those who have lost all hope and found solace in the embrace of annihilation. The Destroyers. These are the berserkers of Flux's forces, beings who revel in chaos and destruction. They are fueled by rage, pain, and a primal urge to tear down anything that stands in their way. Some are former warriors driven to madness, others are creatures from fractured realities where violence is the only language, and some are even fragments of Flux's own fractured psyche, given form and sentience. The Anomies. These are the most unsettling of Flux's followers, beings who have become unstuck from reality. They flicker in and out of existence, their forms unstable, their very presence a disruption to the laws of physics. Some are the result of failed experiments, others are beings who have been exposed to the raw chaos of the quantum realm for too long, and some are simply anomalies, beings that should not exist but do. The Echoes of Despair. These are not beings, but rather manifestations of Flux's own depressive states. They are sentient voids, sucking in light, sound, and emotion, leaving behind only emptiness and despair. They are the most dangerous of Flux's forces, for they do not seek to destroy, but to erase, to unmake existence itself. Flux doesn't control these beings, he is their embodiment. He is the gravity well that holds them together, the voice of their shared desire for oblivion. His power amplifies theirs, and theirs fuels his, creating a feedback loop of destruction that threatens to consume everything. Their war cry is not a word, but a silence, the absence of all sound, the promise of the void. Alright, here's the next chapter, focusing on the defeat of Flux's army and his escape to Earth. Saga, the Quantum Ascent. Chapter 11. The Entropy's Fall. The Children of the Void, Flux's legion of Nihilists and Destroyers, clash against the combined forces of Quinn and Wildcard. Their onslaught of entropy and destruction meets a wall of warped reality and chaotic creation. Quinn, the architect, unleashes the full might of her reshaped quantum realm. Her attacks are precise, targeting the core of the Void Children's being, disrupting their connection to the nothingness they crave. She bends the laws of physics, turning their own destructive energies against them, imploding their power into pockets of harmless void. Wildcard, the rule breaker, dances through the chaos, her power a whirlwind of unpredictable creation. She disrupts the Anomies' instability, grounding them in temporary reality. She turns the Destroyer's rage into bursts of vibrant energy, fueling her own chaotic symphony. Even against the Nihilists, she finds a way to create, weaving illusions of hope and meaning that briefly disrupt their bleak nihilism. The battle is brutal, a clash of opposing forces that threatens to tear the quantum realm apart. But slowly, inexorably, Flux's forces begin to crumble. The Nihilists fade into silence, their power countered by Quinn's control and Wildcard's defiant creativity. The Destroyers are overwhelmed by the sheer force of their combined enemies, their rage turned against them. The Anomies flicker and vanish, their unstable forms unable to withstand the focused attacks. The echoes of despair, the sentient voids, are contained by Quinn's mastery of the realm, their nothingness neutralized by her absolute control. Flux, the engine of entropy, watches his forces fall, his rage and despair reaching a fever pitch. He unleashes a final, devastating wave of destructive energy, a desperate attempt to erase everything. But it is not enough. Quinn and Wildcard, for all their differences, stand united against the threat of annihilation. They combine their powers, Quinn's order and Wildcard's chaos merging into a force that can withstand even Flux's entropy. The wave of destruction is contained, its power redirected, and Flux finds himself facing defeat. But Flux is not one to be contained. With a final surge of energy, he tears a hole in reality, a rift leading to an unknown location. He escapes, vanishing into the chaos, leaving behind the remnants of his shattered army and the echoes of his destructive power. The rift closes behind him, leaving Quinn and Wildcard victorious, but the victory is bittersweet, for the engine of entropy is now loose upon an unsuspecting world, Earth. Alright, let's dive deep into the vibrant chaos of Wildcard's forces. Saga, the Quantum Ascent. Chapter 12. The Anarchists' Chorus. Wildcard doesn't command an army. She conducts an orchestra of reality benders, a chorus of anarchists who see the quantum realm as a canvas, not a cage. Cite, 55, 61, 62. The reality painters. These beings wield the power to manipulate the very fabric of existence with artistic flair. Cite, 47, 48, 49. They can twist landscapes into impossible geometries, conjure living sculptures from raw energy, and rewrite the laws of physics with a stroke of their imagination. Some were once traditional artists, driven to the brink of madness by the limitations of the mundane world. Others are beings born from the realm's raw creative potential. Cite, 108, 109, 110. The Time Weavers. These enigmatic individuals can manipulate the flow of time itself. Cite, 40. They can slow down, speed up, or even reverse the passage of moments, creating temporal distortions and paradoxes. Some are former historians who became obsessed with altering the past. Others are beings from timelines that have already collapsed, seeking to prevent their own erasure. Cite, 142, 143, 144. The Codebreakers. These are the hackers of reality, beings who can manipulate the underlying code of existence. Cite, 85, 86. They can rewrite laws of physics, alter the properties of matter, and even create or delete entire dimensions. Some are former programmers who discovered the true nature of reality. Others are digital entities that escape the confines of cyberspace. cite 167. The glitchlings. These are the most unpredictable members of Wildcard's forces, beings who exist on the fringes of reality, their forms constantly shifting and glitching, cite 36, 37, 43, 44. They can phase through walls, teleport at will, and disrupt energy fields with their mere presence. Some are the result of experiments that went horribly wrong, others are beings from fractured dimensions, and some are simply anomalies, beings that defy all explanation, cite 92. Wildcard doesn't rule these beings, she inspires them, cite 127. She is their muse, their conductor, their fellow rebel against order and control. Her power amplifies their own, creating a symphony of chaos that challenges the very foundations of the quantum realm. Alright, let's descend into the unsettling depths of Echo's forces. Saga, the Quantum Ascent. Chapter 13. The Chorus of Madness. Echo doesn't lead an army. She conducts a symphony of shattered minds, a chorus of madness where reality is a malleable instrument. The Illusion Weavers. These beings are masters of deception, capable of crafting illusions so real they can alter memories, induce emotions, and even inflict physical harm. Some were once artists driven to insanity by their own creations. Others are beings from fractured realities where illusion and reality are indistinguishable. And some are simply those who have lost their grip on sanity and found solace in Echo's power. The Memory Eaters. These unsettling individuals can manipulate memories, both their own and those of others. They can erase, alter, or implant recollections, twisting the past to serve their own purposes. Some are former psychologists who delved too deep into the human psyche. Others are beings from timelines where history is constantly rewritten, and some are simply those who seek to escape the pain of their own past. The Perception Benders. These beings can warp the senses, altering how others perceive reality. They can manipulate sight, sound, touch, taste, and smell, creating sensory overload or deprivation. Some are former scientists who experimented with sensory deprivation. Others are beings from realities where the senses are unreliable, and some are simply those who crave control over the minds of others. The Thought Parasites. These are the most insidious of Echo's followers, beings that can invade and manipulate thoughts. They can plant suggestions, steal ideas, and even control actions from within the minds of their victims. Some are former telepaths who lost their empathy. Others are beings from hive minds seeking to expand their influence. And some are simply those who crave the ultimate power, control over free will. Echo doesn't command these beings. She is their collective consciousness. She is the conductor of their madness, the weaver of their shared delusions. Her power amplifies theirs, and theirs fuels hers, creating a feedback loop of insanity that threatens to unravel the very fabric of thought. Alright, let's explore the forces that rally behind the Quantum Goddess. Saga, the Quantum Ascent. Chapter 14. The Order Bringers. Quinn, the architect of possibilities, doesn't command an army of mindless drones. She leads a legion of beings who crave structure, purpose, and the cold certainty of her design. They are the Order Bringers, and their ranks are as diverse as the realities Quinn seeks to control. The Reality Sculptors. These beings possess the ability to manipulate the fundamental building blocks of reality. They can alter matter and energy at a subatomic level, creating constructs of incredible power and precision. Some are former scientists who sought to impose order on the chaos of the universe. Others are beings from realities where the laws of physics are rigidly defined, and some are simply those who yearn for control over their environment. The Time Wardens. These enigmatic figures can manipulate the flow of time with meticulous precision. They can accelerate, decelerate, or even freeze temporal currents, enforcing a strict chronology. Some are former historians obsessed with preserving a single timeline. Others are beings from realities where time is a linear and unyielding force, and some are simply those who fear the unpredictable nature of change. The Logic Engines. These are beings of pure intellect, capable of processing information at unimaginable speeds. They can calculate probabilities, predict outcomes, and devise strategies with flawless accuracy. Some are former mathematicians who sought to find the ultimate equation of existence. Others are artificial intelligences from hyper-rational realities, and some are simply those who value logic above all else. The nullifiers. These are the enforcers of Quinn's order, beings capable of suppressing and erasing anything that deviates from her design. They can neutralize chaotic energies, silence dissent, and even erase entire realities that threaten her perfect structure. Some are former law enforcement officers from dystopian futures, others are beings from realities where individuality is suppressed, and some are simply those who crave the power to control others. Quinn doesn't inspire these beings, she programs them. She is the architect of their purpose, the designer of their function. Her power amplifies their abilities, creating a force of unwavering order that seeks to reshape the multiverse in her image. Alright, here's the next chapter, focusing on the defeat of Echo's army and her escape to Earth. Saga, the Quantum Ascent. Chapter 15, The Shattered Chorus. Echo's forces, the Chorus of Madness, clash against the combined might of Quinn's Orderbringers and Wildcard's Anarchists' Chorus. The battle becomes a war for the very minds of the combatants, a terrifying symphony of broken sanity and warped perception. Quinn's reality sculptors, with their precise control over matter and energy, target the illusion weavers, disrupting their carefully crafted deceptions. The Time Wardens manipulate the flow of moments, catching the memory eaters in temporal loops, forcing them to confront their own fractured pasts. The logic engines analyze the perception benders' powers, finding the cracks in their sensory manipulations and countering them with calculated precision. The nullifiers move through the chaos, silencing the thought parasites, erasing their influence from the minds of friend and foe alike. Wildcard's forces meet madness with madness, their chaotic creativity disrupting Echo's carefully orchestrated insanity. The reality painters twist the illusions into surreal works of art, turning fear into wonder and horror into beauty. The Time Weavers create temporal paradoxes, trapping the memory eaters in endless loops of altered memories. The Codebreakers hack the perception benders' senses, rewriting their code of perception and turning their powers against them. The Glitchlings phase through the thought parasites' mental defenses, disrupting their control and freeing the minds they held captive. The battle is a cacophony of clashing realities, a war fought in the minds and on the battlefield. But slowly, inexorably, Echo's forces begin to crumble. The illusion weavers' deceptions are shattered, their power turned against them by Quinn's order and Wildcard's chaos. The memory eaters are trapped in their own twisted pasts, unable to escape the temporal loops. The perception benders' senses are overloaded and disrupted, their control slipping away. The thought parasites are purged from the minds they infest, their influence erased by the combined power of their enemies. Echo, the conductor of this maddening symphony, watches her chorus fall apart, her carefully constructed reality unraveling. She unleashes a final wave of psychic energy, a desperate attempt to drown everyone in a sea of insanity. But it is not enough. Quinn and Wildcard, for all their contrasting styles, stand united against the threat to their existence. They combine their powers, Quinn's order and Wildcard's chaos merging into a force that can withstand even Echo's psychic onslaught. The wave of madness is contained, its power redirected, and Echo finds herself facing defeat. But Echo is not one to be contained. With a final surge of mental energy, she tears a rift in reality, a fractured passage leading to an unknown time and place. She escapes, vanishing into the chaos, leaving behind the remnants of her shattered army and the echoes of her psychic power. The rift closes behind her, leaving Quinn and Wildcard victorious, but the victory is unsettling, for the Master of Illusions is now loose upon an unsuspecting world, Earth. Alright, here's the next chapter, focusing on the Quantum Goddess's army's defeat and her escape to Earth. Saga, the Quantum Ascent. Chapter 16. The Fall of Order. The Quantum Goddess's forces, the Order Bringers, clash against the combined might of Wildcard's Anarchists' chorus. The battle becomes a war for the very structure of reality, a conflict between rigid control and boundless freedom. Wildcard's reality painters twist Quinn's constructs into ever-shifting art, disrupting their precision and turning order into beautiful chaos. Her time weavers create temporal anomalies, catching Quinn's time wardens in paradoxical loops, unraveling their control over the flow of moments. Her codebreakers hack Quinn's logic engines, rewriting their algorithms and turning their calculations into unpredictable equations. Her glitchlings phase through the nullifier's attempts to erase them, their very existence a disruption to Quinn's ordered reality. The battle rages across the quantum realm, a war fought not just in space but in the fundamental laws of existence. But slowly, inexorably, Quinn's forces begin to crumble. The reality sculptor's perfect constructs are warped and twisted, their power turned against them by Wildcard's chaotic creativity. The Time Wardens are trapped in temporal paradoxes, their control over time unraveling. The logic engine's calculations become meaningless in the face of Wildcard's unpredictable forces. The nullifier's attempts to erase are thwarted by the glitchling's ability to phase and disrupt. Quinn, the architect of possibilities, watches her carefully constructed order collapse, her perfect design crumbling into beautiful anarchy. She unleashes a final wave of structured energy, a desperate attempt to impose her will on the chaotic forces. But it is not enough. Wildcard, the embodiment of freedom and chaos, stands as the antithesis of Quinn's control. Her power, fueled by the collective creativity of her followers, overwhelms Quinn's attempts to impose order. The wave of structured energy is disrupted and redirected, and Quinn finds herself facing defeat. But Quinn is not one to be contained. With a final surge of power, she tears a rift in reality, a precisely calculated escape route leading to an unknown time and place. She vanishes into the chaos, leaving behind the remnants of her shattered army and the echoes of her ambition. The rift closes behind her, leaving Wildcard victorious, but the victory is unsettling, for the would-be architect of reality is now loose upon an unsuspecting world, Earth. Alright, here's the grand finale, the epic aftermath that sets the stage for a whole new saga. Saga, the Quantum Ascent. Chapter 17. Echoes across time. The quantum realm, scarred but not broken, breathes a collective sigh of fractured relief. Wildcard, standing amidst the remnants of the battle, surveys the altered landscape. The rigid order Quinn sought to impose is shattered, replaced by a vibrant, chaotic tapestry woven from the remnants of her followers' powers and the artistic flair of Wildcard's rebels. Echo's illusions linger like phantom echoes, a reminder of the fragility of perception, while the voids left by Flux's entropy pulse with a strange, unsettling energy. The victory is hard-won, the cost etched into the very fabric of the realm. But from the chaos, a new equilibrium begins to emerge, a balance between creation and destruction, order and anarchy. Wildcard, now the de facto guardian of this volatile peace, understands the immense responsibility that rests upon her. She begins the arduous task of rebuilding, not in Quinn's image, but in a way that embraces the inherent chaos and celebrates the boundless potential of the quantum realm. However, the echoes of the conflict reverberate across the multiverse. The escape of Quinn, Echo, and Flux to Earth has created ripples in the timeline, disturbances that threaten to unravel the delicate balance of reality. These beings, each possessing powers that could reshape existence, are now loose in a world unprepared for their arrival. And this is where the Legion steps into the light. This shadowy organization, with its own complex agenda and mastery of manipulating the flow, recognizes the imminent danger. They see the escaped gods not as isolated threats, but as key players in a larger game, a cosmic conflict that spans across time and dimensions. The Legion understands that containing these powerful beings will require more than brute force. It will demand a delicate dance across the timelines, a strategic manipulation of cause and effect. The next saga is born, the Legion's Temporal Gambit. This new chapter will plunge into the intricate complexities of time, exploring the consequences of the quantum goddess, Echo, and Flux's arrival on Earth. It will follow the Legion's intricate maneuvers as they navigate the treacherous currents of time, battling not only the escaped gods but also the paradoxes and anomalies that their presence generates. The stakes are higher than ever, for the Legion isn't just fighting for the quantum realm or Earth, they are fighting for the integrity of time itself. The saga promises a thrilling blend of action, intrigue, and mind-bending temporal mechanics, as the Legion races against time to prevent the unraveling of existence.